Hi everyone, welcome back. This week in Level F, we're going to be going over lessons 101 through 104. You will need worksheets 82 through 85A or B, practice worksheet 11, colored pencils if you have them, the math card games book, the fraction cards, and the multiplication cards. In lesson 101, we're going to be multiplying mixed numbers. Give your child the warm-up questions, which are on practice sheet 11. And then let's look at one problem on worksheet 82.
Okay, so here's my attempt at the drawing on the worksheet. We have a rectangle that's 2.5 by 3 1/4. So here's the 1/4 down here. Here's the half over here. I'm going to show you 3 ways to solve this problem. So first, remember that the area, that's what we're looking for, area equals base times height. And in this case, the base is 2.5 and the height is 3 1/4. Now, one way we can solve this problem is to separate out the whole numbers. So we'd have 2 times 3 plus the fractions times the whole. So 1/2 times 3 plus 2 times 1/4 plus 1/2 times 1/4. Okay, that way we cover all of our bases. So 2 times 3 is 6. Oh, and by the way, the book does show this with parentheses. They're not necessary, but they do help the child to kind of focus in on what's happening. The reason why they're not necessary is because we always have to multiply before we add in an equation. All right, so 2 times 3 is 6. Half of 3 is 1.5 plus 2 times 1/4 would be 2/4 plus 1/2 of a fourth is 1/8. Now we can go ahead and combine that. 6 plus 1 is 7. 1/2 plus 1/2 would make it 8. And we have 1/8 left over. So another way to solve this problem is to turn everything into a mixed number. So 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So 5 halves times 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13. 13/4. And then we just multiply across. 5 times 13, 5 times 10 is 50. 5 times 3 is 15. So 50 plus 15 is 65. And 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 8 is 64. So we would have 8 with 1 left over, 1/8. So 8 1/8 is our answer. A third way of doing it is a little bit more complicated, and it's not typically done, but it is valid. So we're going to go ahead and look at that. We will separate the first whole number and fraction and just say 2 times 3 1/4 plus 1/2 times 3 1/4. So you see we just put the 2 here and the half here, okay? So 2 times 3 1/4, we're going to turn this into a mixed number. 2 times 13/4 plus 1/2 times 13/4. So this would be 26/4 plus 13/8. 1 times 13 is 13. 2 times 4 is 8. Equals 52/8 plus 13/8, which we have again 52 and 13 would be 65/8. We simplify that to 8 1/8. So while this is not a real common way to do it, it is perfectly acceptable. So if your child chooses to do it that way, great.
So on the top of the second page in the lesson book, the book says that some people try to solve these kinds of problems by simply multiplying the whole numbers together and then multiplying the fractions together. Make sure that your child can explain why this does not work. So now your child can complete the worksheet and answer the in conclusion questions. If you have enough time, go ahead and play Fraction times Fraction War, which is game F40 in the Math Card Games book. In lesson 102, we will learn how to use the canceling technique when multiplying fractions. The warm-up questions are once again on practice sheet 11. Let's look at how canceling works as a shortcut for multiplying fractions.
Okay, so here's our introduction into simplifying fractions before multiplying. And we're just going to work our way through a process that makes it more understandable to your child. We're going to ask your child to solve this problem without using the algorithm. Okay, without saying 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. How can we intuitively know what the answer is just by picturing the fraction chart in your mind? Well, half of 2/3 would obviously be 1/3. So now the book says to go ahead and use the algorithm that we've learned. So 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6, and that simplifies to 1/3. Now the question asks, what if we swap the denominators? So what if instead of 1/2 we have 1/3, and instead of 2/3 we have 2/2? Does that change our answer? No, it doesn't, because we still get 1 times 2 is 2, 3 times 2 is 6, and our answer is 1/3. So simply by switching the denominator does not change the answer. Okay, so that kind of set us up for the next example. And that is 4/9 times 5/8 equals, you could do this all in one line, 4 times 5 over 9 times 8. Nothing has changed, right? So this would give us 20. 4 times 5 is 20. 9 times 8 is 72. We'll need to simplify that. And that simplifies to 5/18 because 4 goes into 25 times, 4 goes into 72 18 times. Not that you had to do any of that. You're just supposed to write out this equation and point out that obviously we needed to simplify. And, most people would take a minute to try to figure out how, what numbers they can divide by to get the simplified answer. So we're going to show your child an easier way to do it. So we have the 4/9 times 5/8. If we swap the denominators, we have 4/8 times 5/9. We've already proven that that doesn't do anything to change the problem. Can we simplify 4/8 easily? Yes, we can. It's 1/2 times 5/9, which gives us 5/18. This was a much easier problem to solve than this would have been. But in fact, people don't regularly swap the denominators. What we do instead is called canceling. So let's go back to the original 4/9 times 5/8. And we can see that we can simplify here. So 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 8 twice. Now we multiply. 1 times 5 is 5, 9 times 2 is 18. So we get the same result as this problem up here, but we did not need to flip-flop the denominators. We could simply see that 4 and 8, they could cancel out. So 4 cancels itself out. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Let's do one more problem just to make sure that you get it. So we have 4/9 times 3/8. And we can see here that we can cancel two things. So we have the 4 and the 8. 4 goes into 4 once and into 8 twice. I'm going to change pens. This is where the colored pencils might come in handy for your child so that they can keep track of what is canceling what. So 3 goes into 3 once and into 9 3 times. We multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 2 is 6. So our answer is 1/6.
So go ahead and do example 3 with your child, and then have your child complete worksheet 83. Ask the in conclusion questions, and then play fraction of a fraction of 24 game, which is game F41 in the Math Card Games book. In lesson 103, we will solve some fraction problems. Go ahead and ask the oral warm-up questions and have your child work through the problems on the worksheet. Let's go ahead and look at problems 1 and 4.
Okay, so here's problem 1. We have a triangle ACB. And the perimeter, we know that the perimeter equals 20 centimeters. We know that line CB is 1/4 of the perimeter. So 1/4 of 20 centimeters. And that line CA is 2/5 of 20 centimeters. So we want to find the length of the line AB, this one right here. Okay, so what is 1/4 of 20? Well, 20 divided by 4 is 5 centimeters. And 20 divided by 5 is 4 times 2 is 8. So how are we going to solve this problem? We can simply say 20 minus 5 minus 8. 20 minus 5 is 15 minus 8 equals 7 centimeters. Okay, now we're going to look at problem 4. Haley bought a sweater that was on sale for 1/3 off. The original price was $21. How much did Haley pay? So the first way we could do this is we could look at how much did she save. So we'll put saved here. And how do we figure out that answer? 21 times, what was it? 1/3, right? So 1/3 of 21 is 7. And then this was the amount paid, would be 21 minus 7 equals 14. So how much did she pay for the sweater? $14. However, there is another way that we could solve this problem. We could look at it just strictly from how much did she pay. So we start off with $21 and we multiply it by 2/3. Because the discount was 1/3, that means we're paying 2/3 of the price. How can we figure that out? Well, 21 divided by 3, let's do the canceling method. 3 goes into 3 once and into 21 7 times. 7 times 2 is 14. So Haley's paid $14 for that sweater.
After completing the worksheet, let your child play the sale price game, which is F42 in the Math Card Games book. The answers should be written like we just did for the solution for problem 4, and have them write it on the worksheet. So either method is fine if they want to first find out how much they save and then subtract that from the original price, that works. Or if they want to just go ahead and figure out how much I pay, that works too, but it needs to be one of those two methods. After the game, ask the in conclusion questions, and then we're ready for lesson 104. For this lesson, we have a review and game day. After asking the oral questions, have your child complete the review and then make any corrections necessary. Then you can play fraction of a fraction of 24, which was game F41 in the Math Card Games book. If you would like to review any of the questions that your child missed, here are the lessons the questions came from. Okay, if your child missed oral question 1, review lesson 4. Oral question 2, review lesson 3. Oral question 3, review lessons 20 and 21. In the Write the Answers section, for the first problem, you can review lesson 16, the second one, review lesson 85, and the third one, review lesson 97. In the Do the Calculations section, review lesson 89 for the first question, lesson 93 for the second question, lesson 33 for the third question, and lesson 49 for the fourth question. In the multiply 3 1/3 by 2 3/5 problem, review lesson 101. In the true or false questions, review lessons 97, 101, and 102. In the find the products question, go ahead and review lesson 102. And in the solve the perimeter problem, review lesson 95. Okay, that's all for this week. I hope you have a great one, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.